Couldn't we all just be a little bit more productive?
My daily schedule to be as productive or as efficient as possible. You guys know that I value my time very much.
Oh, excuse me. Who are you? Why are you staring at me? You just got me here. I'm working. Why not? How do I begin this? Last night I was reading one of the many chapters of a book that I started really recently called Utopia for Realists. Generally, this book is all about things that we can do to better our society, our economy, and everything that we know. It talks about the land of plenty. The land of plenty is this place people in the Middle Ages used to dream about that was something really similar to what we have now. Unlimited things, we can ask for anything, it will be in our fucking doorstep. We have the ability to not worry about where am I gonna get my food? Do I have to hunt it? Do I have to work endless hours to get a piece of bread? This shit doesn't happen anymore in our first world beautiful bubble. That has sort of shortened and limited our visions of a better world. We struggle to be visionary and creative about the things that we can make better. What can be better than this? I want to talk about one very specific concept that he talks about called gross domestic product. I'm no economist, I know fuck all, I'm just learning this while I'm going, but just in case you don't know, the GDP from a measurement that measures the wealth of a country. And that's how we measure that the United States is the most powerful country in the world. The amount of money that it's worth is really high. A firefighter that earns its money firefighting, that worth takes part of the GDP, of the wealth of the country. Or the CEO of a company, how much that company is making takes part of the GDP. How much money is moving in the country. As I said, the GDP did not exist until, and again I might be wrong, but I think it's around the 30s. This comes in and we start to think, well, economic growth is the way forward then. And it was back in World War II. Now that's changed. Ultimately, we don't need to be growing and growing and growing economically. There's two things that are posing now from this. The way we see productivity and the concept of quantity versus quality, cheap versus expensive, and all of these concepts in consumerism in general. Funnily enough, I'm someone with an iPhone, I'm talking about consumerism. So nowadays we live in a world where a fridge is going to be super cheap, it's going to be super quick to make, it's probably not going to last you very long because consumerism, but it will be there very quickly and very cheaply. The flaw with this is that the health system doesn't work the same way. You cannot ask a doctor to work for less money and do more work. I mean, you can because it is being done nowadays, but it's absolutely counterproductive, and that is really cheapening the quality of the health system. The second point is that our views on productivity have been shaped throughout this measurement. Especially Americans, the way they see the world is that you have to be as productive as possible. If you're not productive enough, you're gonna feel guilt. And I feel like probably a lot of people that are watching me right now have at some point felt guilt because they weren't doing fuck all. I think the pressure of being productive a lot of the times can provoke in people to not do anything at all, to freeze. And I think that's also a really big problem from it, right? Like, no one just randomly is born productive and that's it. My point with this is that I want to give you 5 ways on being really unproductive. Really good things have come from unproductiveness. Social change. Rosa Parks and her denial of sitting down in the back of the bus. That was a really unproductive decision for her to make. And a lot of people would have thought then that that was absolute madness. But the change in mindset is what changes the world towards something a lot better. So I think that being unproductive is actually a really productive thing. We've been shaped into being these machines, right? We have to deconstruct ourselves and we have to think of ourselves as shapeless humans that can fit into anything and adapt to things and be creative and be proud of messing up and wasting time. So the first one, reflection. Reflect on the things that matter to you, away from money and materialism. The way that I've done this personally, for example, I did yesterday with Matt, is that we filmed ourselves talking to our 5-year-old future selves. And we just started talking and questioning things and thinking, how are things going to change in 5 years? How is this going to matter to me in 5 years? And I think that is a really good exercise. The way I've done it is that I found this page called futureme.com. I've uploaded a YouTube video unlisted. I put it in a little letter to me. The program or the app will send it to me in 5 years to the email that I tell them. I think that's really cool. I bet it's going to be like really exciting to look back at it because I will completely have forgotten what I said. The second one is all about liabilities and assets. Well, I mean, I don't know the exact definition, the professional, nice sounding definition, but basically a liability will be an ice cream, for example. Something that you buy, but you're not getting the money back at any point. It's not something that's going to give you anything back. It's not going to give you health. It's not going to give you anything. It's a liability. And then an asset is something that in the long run, it will give you back more than it actually was worth. Especially again in America, there seems to be a concept of, if it's a liability, I don't want it. It is okay to enjoy things and for them to be momentary. It's okay to enjoy your fucking ice cream without it bringing something good in the long run. It is okay to have liabilities. It is okay to play Animal Crossing as long as you give it certain hours. If you're playing all day, non-stop, then you probably do have a problem. You need to give space to each thing. You need to understand that you need a bit of variety in your day. You can't just be doing one thing all day, doesn't matter what, rain or sunny. You know, you can't do that. I am a bit of a workaholic. I used to be a lot more, and now I'm trying to calm down. And liabilities, so to speak, have been a big deal in my life. I've always felt really guilty every single time something was out of the realm of being productive. And I'm starting to understand that it is fucking okay for me to spend an entire day doing something that is not working. It's okay for me to calm the fuck down. The third thing that I want to say is play, experiment, waste time. As this guy says in here, productivity is for robots. Humans excel at wasting time, experimenting, playing, creating, and exploring. We're fucking good at exploring, at creating. The reason that we just run out of ideas or we feel like we're not creative is because we're constantly trying to push the productivity to us. And sometimes we just have to do nothing in order to get somewhere. As long as you have a direction and a sense of, I'm going this way or that way, or this is roughly what I want, I think this is a really fucking good thing. Fourth thing, excess in anything becomes a fault. As good as anything is, it needs to be taken with measure. Maybe just make a list of the things that you really enjoy. Try and take it with measure. Don't do it to the point where it's just mental, like the amount of time you spend on it. Although I'm not pushing you away from that. Do you? Boo. It's okay if that is what tickles your pickle, but what I'm saying is, if you're working too much, that's clearly going to become an issue. But also if you're lazing around too much, that's going to become an issue as well. You don't have to write things down the way I do, but personally, I have this that tells me exactly, and I tell myself exactly how much time I'm going to spend on each thing. Every day, or almost every day, I give myself time to do fuck all. The fifth thing is read a ton of fiction books. I've seen so many people that are like, oh yeah, it's a book that is teaching me how to do marketing right, or is teaching me how to, I don't know, self-help books and all that stuff, which I think are okay. But again, I think it's really good to always have a fictional book at hand. Personally, it has helped me so much to get through shit. I've had a lot of trauma throughout my life and I had a lot of issues with myself, and I feel like taking a break from my own trauma and my own whatever I'm feeling and immersing myself into a different world that I don't know anything about, and it's just new and it's fresh. It's just so refreshing. All in all, I just want to say that my story with productivity and lack of it has been intense. I've always worked really hard. I've seen people fail in my family, and I've seen the way that affects people's mindsets. I'm always looking to better myself and better my work. But what is taking me a while to understand after leaving all of my hobbies for the sake of working is that I do need those hobbies. I do need my time to do anything, like mess up and get dirty, and like that is just the best way. That's the human fucking way to do things, you know. I've struggled with this for so long. I was about to not do a fucking video this week because I was just like, I don't have time, I need to be productive, I need to focus on this, and I was just like, being productive, even if it's just from time to time. Do you have anything else to say? Have a wank. Done?
Nice work.